Welcome back, everybody. My name is Dr. Baird, and today I'll be showing you 10 of the best glute med strengthening exercises, starting with the easiest and working our way up to the hardest. So the glute med is part of our glute complex. It's a muscle that lies on the outside of your hip. That's really important for controlling a lot of your leg movement. It's also important for helping you stand and stabilize yourself when you're standing on one leg, which means it's really important muscle to strengthen if you're having things like knee pain and even lower back pain. Now, the problem is it's not a muscle that we use a lot in our day-to-day life, so it's important that you have some of these glute med strengthening exercises in your strength training program to help prevent joint pain. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. The clamshell is one of the best exercises to start with if you're new to glute med strengthening. It's a simple exercise that really targets that glute med muscle, and to perform, you can do it by simply laying on your side. So if I'm laying on my side, I can use my bottom arm as a pillow. From there, I want my hips stacked, my knees stacked, and my ankles stacked. And all I'm going to do is keep my ankles together and lift my top knee and back down. Now, the only thing you want to watch out for is you don't want to open up so wide that you start to twist to the low back. Really keep this movement just in your hip. And you want to feel the burn on the outside of your hip. That's where the glute med muscle is, right out here. And if this is feeling too easy for you, you can add resistance by just putting an 8-inch mini band around your knees as you perform this movement, and that'll really help increase the burn and strengthening of your glute med muscle. Another safe and effective exercise is a sidelining hip abduction. Now, I actually like to do this in a series of movements, which I'll take you through right now. So we're going to start on our side again so we can use that bottom arm as a pillow. This time, our legs are going to be straight, but still my hips, knees, and feet are stacked. This is going to be a series of 4 movements, and you would perform each for about 15 seconds. So it'll be a minute routine when you're going all the way through. The first movement is simply going to be a leg lift. So you're going to do this for 15 seconds. Again, really keeping that movement in the hip, not trying to get so high that you rotate or start to turn the foot out. If this is all the movement you got, start there. So after 15 seconds here, you're going to do small circles forward. So I'm just going to elevate my top leg, really keep the circles nice and small. And after 15 seconds, we're going to do backwards circles. And again, try to really keep it smooth in small circles. After 15 seconds, the last one is going to be bicycles. So I'm going to keep my top foot elevated, but I'm going to bring my knee up, extend the leg out, just like I'm pedaling a bicycle. Come behind me here. And 15 seconds of bicycles. And you really should start to feel that burn on the outside of your hip. The toe tap is another great exercise to begin strengthening your glute med exercise, especially if you have a hard time getting up and down from the floor. It also is a great exercise for balance too. So if you're having some issues with balance, this might be a great option. To perform, I'm going to start just by balancing on one leg. So for me, it's going to be my left leg. And from there, I'm just going to tap the floor in front, come back to the middle, tap to the floor to the side, back to the middle, and tap straight back. And I'm just going to go through those 3 movements again. A few things to keep in mind. I want to balance on the stance leg as much as I can. So when I tap, I'm not putting any pressure down on the leg that's going forward. It's really balancing on that leg and just a quick little tap. And you should feel it in your glute med. So again, outside hip of your stance leg. The longer you hold this movement, the more you're going to feel that burn on the outside of your hip. The running man is another great way to isometrically strengthen your glute med exercise while working on balance and coordination. I love this exercise because it looks so simple, but it's actually very challenging on your glute med and your balance as well. So to perform, I'm going to be balancing on one leg. So let's do my left leg, slight bend in the knee. My right knee is going to come up, and my left arm is going to come up. So it's called the running man because it looks like I'm running in place. From there, I'm going to hinge at my hips, bring my elbow and my knee back as I bring my opposite arm forward. So again, it's just like I'm running in place. And then from there, come back to the start. And so what you're going to start to notice as you stand and balance on this leg, the longer you go, the more you're going to feel that burn on the outside of your stance leg. That's really targeting your glute med muscle to help stabilize you when you balance on one leg. Another great way to target your glute med muscle group is with an exercise called the monster walk. To perform this exercise, all you're going to need is to put that 8-inch band around your knees. And so really we want it just slightly above your knees or your kneecap there. You're going to start with your feet hip width apart. Get into a slightly athletic stance. So slightly bend the knees, sending the hips back. From there, you're going to just take a step to the side. So you got a nice wide stance and come back to hip width. And you're just going to go back and forth here, and you're going to feel it on the outside of the hips. The only thing you want to watch out for with this exercise is that after you take that wide step, make sure that you don't come too narrow with your feet. You're going to lose all the tension in the band. So when you take that step to the side, really make sure that hip width is as narrow as you go. Now, if you wanted an extra challenge, you can do what's called a monster walk squat, where you're going to take a step to the side, bring it back to hip width, and then perform a squat. And so when you perform that squat, really make sure that you're driving those knees out to engage your glute med even more. So it's side, together, squat. Side, together, squat. Give that one a try. Let me know how it goes. The side plank clamshell is a great way to target your glute med muscle while also activating your core, which is another reason why I really like this exercise. To perform, we're going to need to be in our side plank position in a knee side plank. So I want my elbow right under my shoulder. I'm going to come into my knee side plank, so my body should be in a straight line. My elbow should be stacked, hips, knees, ankles stacked. And from there, we're just going to do that same clamshell exercise. I'm going to open up that top hip and come down. So you're going to feel it obviously in your bottom side core here, your top glute med, but you might also feel a burn on the bottom glute med as well, because this is a static isometric contraction in that muscle. You really start to feel the burn. And just like the clamshell, if you want to make it a little more difficult, add a band above your knees and give it a try. The side plank hip thrust is a more dynamic core strengthening exercise that you'll also really feel in your glute med as well. Another reason I love this exercise to perform is a little bit more complicated. It's a more dynamic movement where instead of static holds, we're going to have a lot of body movement. So I'm going to start on the floor, almost in a side plank position. So I still want my elbow just under my shoulder. I want my hips, knees, and ankles stacked. But instead of being in a straight line, I'm going to start with my hips back a little bit. So it's almost like I'm forming a V. Because what we want to do is really practice a hip thrust movement. So when I come up into my side plank, I'm going to bring my hips forward. So at the end position, I'm in a nice straight line. And then to get back to the beginning position, I'm going to send my hips back as I lower them to the ground. And so that's the hip thrust part of this movement. So let me show you a couple. It's going to be up, hips forward, and back. And so you're going to feel this in the glute med actually on your bottom side. Again, it's that isometric contraction that really targets that glute med. And again, if you want to make it a little bit harder, you lift that top leg. And again, I can really feel the bottom side glute med starting to fire. Give that one a try. Let me know how it goes. The bowler lunge is just a variation of your reverse lunge exercise that you can use to really target the outside of your hip and that glute med muscle. To perform, I can start with my left leg. I'm going to take a step back and behind. So that's why it's called the bowler lunge, because if you've ever gone bowling, it's like the position you finish your roll in, if you're really good. Not like me. That's not how I do it. Anyway, I'm coming back and behind, bending that knee, tapping the back knee to the floor, and coming up. And again, the more repetitions you do, the more you're going to feel it on the outside of your hip. The standing hip abduction is another more dynamic way to strengthen your glute med exercise. To perform this, again, you need that band placed just above your knees. And from there, I'm going to be standing on my left leg. And all I'm going to do is take my right leg and open it up to the side and come back in. And the reason I love this exercise is because it targets both glute med. So you're going to feel it burn on your stance leg, But then when you open up that leg to the side, you're going to feel it on the outside here. Only thing to watch out for is that when you're performing this movement, make sure that the leg that's moving is really coming out straight to the side. When I teach this movement to a lot of people, their first instinct is almost to come forward. We really just want it straight out to the side, and that is the standing hip abduction exercise. Now, the hip airplane is going to be one of the more challenging ways to strengthen your glute med, but I really love this exercise because, one, it targets your glute med, but it's also a great hip mobility exercise. So to perform, I'm going to start by balancing on one leg, have a slight bend in my knee. From there, I'm going to hinge down. I want my back leg in line with my body, and from there, I want to open my hip to one side, trying my hard to balance, and bringing that hip down and in. And this is where you're really going to feel that glute med fire as you come back out and in. As you can see, that's a challenging variation, but if you have the balance to do it, that's a great way to target your glute med muscle. So there you have it, 11 great options of exercises that specifically target your glute med muscle group. Now, I don't recommend that you do all of these exercises. What I do recommend is you kind of find your ability level and choose 2 or 3 exercises that you can do and add them in to your strengthening routine, because if you target and strengthen that glute med muscle group, it's really going to help out with balance. It's really going to help out with knee pain and back pain as well. So go ahead, give those a shot. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'm happy to help. Hey guys, it's Dr. Carl Baird here, and I wanted to thank you for watching our previous video and supporting our channel. Now, if you're somebody who's looking to build strength to solve joint pain, keep active, and maintain your lifestyle as you get older, be sure to subscribe to our channel to watch all of our new videos. You won't find it anywhere else.